All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our wake-up call. We have been going through the book, 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself, Change Your Life Forever, and it's by Steve Chandler. And I am excited this morning. You already heard his voice earlier, but my good friend and business partner, Mr. Andi Duli, he's on the line today, and he's going to be helping with this, so I'm going to pass that on to him. I don't know where he is in the world right now. He's been traveling, excited about some business stuff happening, so he's normally up in the mountains, nestled by a lake with his home. But I don't know where you are today, so I'm passing it to you, Andi.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Good to be on the call this morning. I am going to go over chapter 23. It's like 2 paragraphs. We normally read it and maybe share some of our thoughts in between. But great chapter, and the chapter is called Break Out of Your Soul Cage. How about that chapter? So the author starts by saying our society encourages us to seek comfort. Most products and services advertised day and night are designed to make us more comfortable and less challenged. Oh boy, that's a recipe for disaster. And yet only a challenge causes growth. Only challenge will test our skills and make us better. Only challenge and the self-motivation to engage the challenge will transform us. Boy, that is so true. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to create a more skillful self. Here's a mindset. What if all of us could see every challenge as an opportunity for growth, by the way? That is so good. So it's up to you to constantly look for challenges to motivate yourself with. And it's up to you to notice when you're buried alive in a comfort zone. It's up to you to notice when you are spending your life in the image of the poet William Olson, like a flower living under the wind. Use your comfort zones to rest in, not to live in. Use them consciously to relax and restore your energy as you mentally prepare for your next challenge. But if you use your comfort zones to live in forever, they become what the rock star singer Sting calls your soul cages. So break free, fly away, experience what the philosopher Fichte meant when he said, being free is nothing, becoming free is heavenly. Gosh, as I read this little chapter this morning, I got to think. So I'm a gym guy. I love to exercise. I'm very self-disciplined. And imagine going to the gym and imagine picking up a 2-pound or a 3-pound dumbbell. And imagine if I'm curling a 2-pound dumbbell. Will there be any growth for my muscles? Will I be able to get stronger and build more lean muscle mass? The answer is no. I have to put my muscles through tension and through a stronger challenge. And by putting my muscles through a challenge, my body will adapt and my body will build more muscle mass. What it actually happens is I will break the muscle fibers. And by breaking the muscle fibers, your body is made to really adapt to anything. And your body starts rebuilding them. But in the rebuilding stage is when you get more muscle mass, you get stronger. So that process would not happen unless I face a challenge. I put my body through more tension. And all I know is that in life, if we do not have what we want, most likely we're living in our comfort zone. Now, it should not be called comfort zone because the reality is should be called a discomfort zone, should be called a misery zone, should be called a dying slowly zone, having no life zone, no purpose zone, and just not stepping up to your calling and hiding zone. So that's how we should see it. But there's something else on the chapter as I'm reading it. He said something about, so the only, everybody wants growth. It's kind of like everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Everybody wants growth. Everybody wants success. everybody wants a better life, everybody wants better finances, but there is, two great powers, and we're in the middle. One power has come to deceive us, to destroy our future, to kill us, and the other has come to give us life and give us life more abundantly. One power wants you to be in fear, and the other power thinks that you are a warrior. The other power thinks that you're born for so much more. You're a mighty man, you're a mighty woman. And now we have a choice. We have both messages, and sometimes it's easy to allow the circumstances we're in to define us, who we truly are, what we're meant to be. But you can look at almost, any person that has impacted the world in a big way. Normally speaking, those people had faced immeasurable challenges and circumstances, and in spite of that, they found their inner voice and they stepped up. And you don't have to just have huge steps right away, but moving in the right direction, being in a war zone, if you will, just getting up on your knees and maybe starting to crawl. And as you start moving out of that war zone, maybe, stepping up, maybe looking up, and maybe getting up and start walking. But that's what starts the process of just moving out of that disease zone and the death zone into the true comfort zone, which is, it's the growth zone. And but again, I see challenges as a true gift. Maybe I'm conditioned the way because I grew up dirt poor. I was a little boy that would climb on men's heads to go buy a loaf of bread, and men twice my size would push me back, and I would push back fearlessly because I had two sisters at home that were starving, and mom and dad had to be at work. So it was my responsibility as a kid, as a preteen, to just buy bread for the family. And so for me, I'm conditioned to see every challenge as a gift of wisdom, as a gift of strength. And as I unwrap this beautiful gift, that stumbling block for me becomes a stepping stone where I'm able to rediscover, my true identity and what I can do in the Lord, and who I'm meant to be, and the impact I'm meant to give. So all of that to say, if you are going through any challenges in your life today, financially, in the business, relationshiply, if that's a word, relationally, whatever challenge you're going through, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to accept full responsibility, because ultimately, who holds the pen in your life? Who is in the driver's seat? I mean, you and I, we are the El Capitan of our life. Our life is a product of our choices, and just because we used an old script the past 5 years and we got where we are, doesn't mean we have to continue being lost and using that script. We can tear it up, burn it, and today is a new day. We accept responsibility, and sometimes it's hard because it's easier to blame somebody else, because it's easier to play the victim. It's not our fault, but that's a sure way for a day to become a year, a decade, a lifetime, just living in misery and in that death zone. I'm going to call it the death zone from now on. And so, but when we look at the challenge as a gift, when we accept responsibility, and maybe we ask God to reveal to us and give us wisdom, and maybe ask God to see what, often I pray and I ask the Lord, who am I in you? Lord, please show me my true identity in you. And I am quiet, and when I've done that before, you guys, I got emotional, because I saw a strong, mighty man and warrior in the Lord. And this is coming from a guy that grew up with nothing. I never had any formal education. I was a blue-collar worker, and I started life. I left my country with $200 and no English, and I almost well, not almost, I would see my life and myself and my identity through the world's point of view, not through God's point of view. And changing that, just giving that up and seeing and asking my Creator whom I'm meant to be and what I'm meant to do and what I can do through Him. And when I'm weak, He is strong and He is my strength, my provider, my sustainer. And then looking at as challenges as a gift of wisdom and strength. Oh my gosh, with that kind of mindset, you can start tackling, you can start, moving, and don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to, a 1,000-mile journey truly begins with the first step, but the first step is the hardest because someone wants you to be in the death zone until your time is up. Somebody does not want you to make a contribution and make an impact. But I think it's time for us to really be reminded that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, and we are meant to be and do and have a global impact. And we don't have to start big. We start where we are with what we've got. And so anyway, those are some of the thoughts that popped in my mind while I'm reading this beautiful chapter. But Jennifer, I would love to pass it to you for any other thoughts.
Oh, thank you. I have a big smile on my face. I loved everything you said in this. I agree 100%. And for me, I can 100% agree that my biggest growth has always come through challenges, whether that has been challenges in business, in life, in relationships. One of the biggest ones recently was through divorce, and it was extremely, extremely difficult. And I'll say that healing process, you can fall back into that comfort zone. I fell back into that comfort zone because I was hurt. I didn't know what was happening, what was going to go on in my life, and I just really sat there, and it's been way too long for that. And it said in that thing, it said comfort zones are to rest in, not to live in. And that hit me. That hit me really hard, and it mentioned the soul cage, and it's like, if you think of something in a cage, like you're limited. You can't you can't experience life, you can't live life to the fullest like we're meant to be, And when we get hurt with things, whether that's in business, we have disappointment in families and things like that, we build walls. I build walls. I built walls up to protect myself that I thought I needed, And yes, when you build those walls around yourself, it does protect you from some things, but it will also block out your blessings. If you're not letting certain people or things or new experiences into your life, it's going to limit you, and you're going to be absolutely stuck in that cage. And, we are never not promised challenges in life. And somebody said this to me once, and they said, we are in the test, the teacher is quiet. So if you think of in school, our teachers were watching us when we were little, we're taking the test, they're quiet, they're not saying anything, no words. And it's the same that sometimes through the life stuff, I'd be like, God, what is this? I feel like I'm doing everything right. You're not helping, you're not there. But He's always there. And there's a scripture, we talked about this, you kind of hit on it, Andi, but it's Jeremiah 29:11, and it says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you. And I know for me, when I heard that the other night at my ladies' study, it really hit home for me. And in this chapter, talking about the comfort zones that we are in, the soul cages, I have been trapped in that. So I'm excited for myself to bust out of that cage. I don't want to be in that anymore for a lot of things. I've been working on the healing process and things like that and getting out of those things breaking out, and I'm excited to have that and to help other people do the same. So that is all I have. Andi, if there's anything else you want to add, I'll let you. If not, I will wrap this thing up. We are about at time.
Well, I appreciate the vulnerability and authenticity, and it takes courage to do that. And what a beautiful word. And sometimes it's hard to accept where we are, but you cannot build upon a lie. It's when we face the truth, it's when we speak the truth, that we can change things. But the last thing I can say is, because all of us, every single person on this call has been through painful situations or winters in life. Some of us Some of you may be in the midst of a winter. It could be financial, can be, health, can be any kind of winter. Some of us are either about to face one or maybe getting out of one. But to be mindful during a painful situation is, the enemy will whisper lies when we are in our knees. And often we make an agreement with the pain. And once we make that agreement, that becomes our narrative, that becomes our story, and that story controls our behavior in our life. And then, time passes, we, heal, or maybe the wound heals, but yet we're still in our knees because of that story and that narrative that was whispered to us. And that's what the author beautifully describes as a soul cage. It's just a psychological. It's not really, we're not in a physical cage. And so when we bust out of that, when we say that's a lie, that's it, no more, and sometimes all you have to do is go back to the moment right before, the painful experience, right before somebody spoke some lies to you or said some hurtful things. Go right to that moment and just jump out of, just scream it, say yes, destroy that lie, and because life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if during painful experiences we speak death over our life or over our finances, and we're bound by those words, and what we speak bind us. I mean, we're hung by our tongue. Since we can speak so much, we can speak life over our mountains, we can really remove them, may as well speak life or none at all. With that said, Jenny, then let's open up the lines. Appreciate you guys being here this morning. Much love to every one of you. We do this call Monday through Friday at 8:15 Central Time. God bless you guys. Have a great day. And go bust out of that death zone. Bless you guys.